Hi all, our notable game today was a very exciting game played at the Isle of Man tournament, sponsored by PokerStars. So it's actually PokerStars Isle of Man Masters tournament, fiercely contested, many GMs playing, including Britain's Nigel Short. Here Nigel Short was playing black against Alon Greenfeld. Alon Greenfeld, a 51-year-old, born 1964, Federation nationality Israel. Greenfeld was born in New York, USA. He was awarded the IM title in 1983, the GM title in 1989. He won at Pardubice 1993, equal first at the Lev Gutman 70th birthday GM tournament in September 2015, played in Germany. A very strong player, experienced player. He played knight f3, and Nigel Short played d5, and we have c4, and now d4. So Nigel pushing forward in the centre. Is this pawn going to be weak later? Is it going to be supported? Well, white tries to get rid of the support in advance with the move b4. So trying to undermine already any support in advance. Black plays bishop g4 here. Usually f6 is seen a lot in that position, but bishop g4. Now g3. So we're in quite rare territory already. f6. So black is trying to lend support for that pawn by building this pawn chain here. Bishop g2, e5. White castled, knight d7. And with knight d7 you see that the c5 square might be useful for black if this pawn could be tempted forward. Queen b3, and in fact with this diagonal also being quite dangerous potentially on c5, black plays a5. Here things get very dynamic and interesting. White clearly doesn't want to play b5. Black would have a lovely knight with tempo and could maybe even play e4 here. This would be very, very nice, crushing potentially. So yeah, white has to play energetically to a5, and he does so. He tries to break black's central construction. The king's still in the center here. Black plays d takes e3, and we have f takes e3, and now a takes b4. So white has done a pawn sack, and now d4. So he's trying to still get at black's king and open up lines. Potentially now c5 is a real nuisance. Yeah, if black routinely does a move like bishop e7, then c5 is really annoying. This would be very pleasant for white, this sort of position. Black's still far from castling here, and yeah, things are getting dangerous. So a retreat back with the same piece, moving the same piece twice in the opening, but here specifically to stop this c pawn advance. Bishop e6, we have bishop b2, and now knight h6. Black is trying to eventually prepare castling. D takes e5, f takes e5 is played in this position. Okay, things are looking very interesting already. What on earth is going on? Why isn't knight takes e5 possible? White played knight bd2 here, just to check this position. 100%. If knight takes e5, in fact, black can take and play knight g4, and say the bishop moves back. Bishop c5 is on that e3. So this would be awkward for white. If bishop d4, there's c5. If bishop f4 here, there's g5. And yeah, it gets hairy, very hairy, but you know, queen b2, rook g8. If h3, this is no good. So in a nutshell, yeah, it seems as though black's getting away with this pawn sack here. It's not taken though, so things get very, very interesting. I'll just turn it off. Very, very interesting. Knight bd2, avoiding that. Now knight f7, so protecting that now finally with two pieces. But very interesting now for white trying to get at black's king. Plays now knight d4, knight sacrifice. His idea is clearly to get rid of this measly pawn on e3 and have a blasting rook down at black's king. Now, it's very difficult if this is not taken. What would black do if he doesn't take it? Doesn't really want to allow taking it. It hits the queen after, so it is actually taken here. After e takes d4, there's numerous possibilities. Rook e1, bishop takes b7. Black hits back hard now. He has an extra piece, and he plays a very, very nice move, trying to shut down at least one of the bishops. Knight d e5. So if this is taken, it blocks in the bishop. It's already blockaded that pawn, and d2 is hanging there. So he's using that pin on the d pawn, and that would be very pleasant actually for black with bishop c5 coming up. So knight d e5, very good resource. Rook a e1, and black continues very energetically now. Can you see what Nigel Short plays in this position? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, starting from now. Okay, bishop c5, creating another pin here, so there's 2 pins. White really, well, he can't take on e5, and if he takes on c5, things get very dangerous in this position. If taking on c5, queen takes d2, and then say taking here, there's a rook takes a2, and this looks really quite good for black. Yes, counter piece sack here. So in fact, white played queen e3, just guarding things, d4 and d2. So is that the end of that? Not really. Now rook takes a2, hitting the bishop like this. We have d takes c5, rook takes b2, and again, yeah, d2 is now under fire. White unleashes rook takes f7, trying to crash through this e file. Black is not obliged to take. It will be check and losing everything. Or taking here is equally terrible. He takes on d2 instead. Threat. Queen takes g2 mate. Queen takes d2. Rook takes d2. And white is in big trouble here, actually. He plays rook f4, as though there's a problem still here. Is he going to get back some of his material? Black plays a very strong move. There's 2 very strong moves. Black plays one of them. Knight d3. The other one was rook f8. But knight d3 is very good as well, leaving white pieces hanging here. Rook takes e6 check. King d7. So both rooks were attacked. Black will be material up in this final position. White had to resign here. Let's just check this. Some possibilities. If bishop h3, trying to use a double check, that can be taken. Rook d6 double check. Here, rook takes d2, knight takes h3. This is good enough. Piece up. So bishop h3 no good. If the rook, say that, knight takes, rook takes. Black is not just the exchange up, but there's a runaway pawn here. b3. Yeah, that pawn he won earlier. This is just hopeless. And then pawn will be queening with some resource put behind it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty hopeless position, the final position here. White's losing whatever happens, it seems. Rook f e4. We have check, forcing a nasty pin, and then rook f8, exploiting that pin. If check, king d8 to stop any further checks here. And then again, rook d takes f1. Black is a piece up. And this is quite clear now that white will be running out of useful checks. And it can be parried anyway. So black a piece up, and this b pawn again in this scenario. So yeah, after king d7, it's pretty hopeless. It was a very exciting game. White tried to play very, very dynamically, but black was very, very resourceful in this game. Counter resources found against d2 and on the second rank. So a very interesting game there from the PokerStars IoM tournament. Hope you enjoyed it. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.